Hey race fans, it's Alana here from the Real Racing 3 team and the EA Fire Monkey studio. And I'm back for another episode of Behind the Remix where I get to chat to the music artists who are behind the remixes of our in-game soundtrack that was originally produced by Ryan Kurt. With me today, I'm joined by RICCI, a Brazilian house music producer on the rise and the talent behind our remix for the song Time. Hi RICCI, thanks for joining me today.
Hi Alana, such a great pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited to have you here and to chat with you and learn a little bit more about yourself and your music. I wanted to kick things off. Can you tell me a little bit more about your music background?
Okay, so I started making music when I was 12. I used to have an old acoustic guitar in my house, and that was from my older brother, and he used to play, but he gave up. So I just grabbed that guitar and started to play some chords, some parts, and I don't know when exactly it was, but I know that when I was like 12 or 13 years old, I started to compose some music, and that became like my passion, and I started doing that every day. And after like 4 or 5 years, I met a guy who used to make electronic music back then. Back then I was like a guy just trying to form a band or sing or make music in any way I could. And this guy, he was called Flavio. He gave me the opportunity to sing on his songs. So we just started making music just for fun. And I used to be the singer, and he used to be the producer. I'm sorry. And after like 6-7 months, this guy, he said to me that he was going to have to leave our project. He was going to focus on his band and his marriage, because his wife was like kind of mad at him because he was all the time in the studio with me, and she was like, "Oh, this was the time that we're supposed to be together," and you know. So after that happened, I just thought to myself, hey, okay, so I was a singer, he was a producer. Okay, so what can I do? So I just decided to buy a computer and started producing music, electronic music. But back then I didn't know anything about EDM, to be honest. Like the only artist that I knew back then was like David Guetta, who used to play in the radio, I think everywhere. And after that I met RICCI, and basically I just fell in love with all of his music. So I just bought a MacBook, and I bought the Ableton Live and Native Instruments Massive, which are like basically the setup that RICCI used to have. And I basically tried to copy him, but that didn't work out pretty well. So I just started trying something new. So I ended up making house music, but that's basically how it started.
Awesome. So kind of going off that, what inspired you to make music? Was it just something that you fell into, or is it when you heard like the first Skrillex songs, did that kind of ignite something in you that was like, wow, I really want to do this?
Yes, when I listened to Skrillex first time, I was so like, I had like this euphoria, such a big euphoria inside of me, and I just wanted to do that, but it was impossible to me back then. But this gave me like a really big inspiration, and I just wanted to do that for my life, you know. Back then I was in the last year of high school, and I was actually getting into a college. So I got into the college, and I bought my computer, and I was trying to do the college and also be a producer, but it was really hard because I didn't know anything about producing. And then I just had to convince my father to quit college, but he didn't want to let me to. So I just had to show him the songs. So I just showed him Skrillex songs and told him that I'm never gonna be like this guy if I have to study, you know. I'm already studying doing this. So I remember that he was really he really wanted me to have like music as a second option. But I was so convinced about that once we were talking while he was driving me to the college, and I cried while I was talking. And I said, "Dad, I'm never gonna be like this guy. Look at this. My music is so bad." And then he let me leave college. Thanks God for that. And like after that, I just spent like 4 entire years on my bedroom doing music, trying to learn new stuff, to learn how to do music. And in the beginning, I was just trying to copy like stuff that I already knew. But after some time, I started to mixing a lot of different influences, and I think that's what probably made my own sound, because I already tried to copy so many people that now I can't even copy anyone, because it's just like a really big mix of influences. And I think that's who I am now.
Yeah, that's a really interesting story, and it's amazing to hear how your journey from when you were younger and you got to college and like, no, this is something that I really want to pursue, and your family was quite supportive in the end of that. So that's really great to hear, and I'm really lucky that you were able to go through that. You talked a lot about like EDM and like Skrillex being dubstep as well. What would you describe your genre of music at the moment? Do you create EDM music?
Well, I think EDM is like a term that it's like a lot of things are EDM, but like it's like rock music. You know, you have like pop rock, you have like hard metal, and you have like death metal, and you have indie rock, and they are all rock music, but they are all very distinct. Right now, I would say that my type of music, my genre of music, is something between bass house and trap music and cloud rap, because I like to use some bass house sounds, but I don't like to keep it very electro, you know, like very distorted. I like to use like some 808s from trap and cloud rap music. So I don't know, I would call it like trap bass or bass house / trap or cloud bass. I'm still trying to find a name, but I think it's a mix between trap music, bass house, and a little bit of my old rock influences. And
I love it. It's your own genre.
Yes. When I find a name, I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna say, hey, this is the name.
Yes, exactly. You've got to let everyone know once you've made your own genre. I wanted to know, this is an interesting question. Have you ever had like a single night out? This could be as like yourself as a DJ performing, or as an attendee, where it was like a memorable experience for you, or one of your best nights out that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I think I had like 3 or 4 really good gigs and shows that were like really memorable. But I think the most memorable one for me was when I played in Lollopalooza, Brazil, in 2017. It was actually during the day when I played. It was not at night, but it was like the best day of my life, because I played on Lollopalooza in 2017 in March, and in 2016 I was like a guy with nothing. In July I was nobody. Then in August, Vintage Culture, who is a really big DJ in Brazil, my manager sent a song to Vintage Culture, and he loved the song, so we made the song together, we made the track together, and released it in September. And back then I had nothing. I had no gigs at all, nothing. And in September, after the song came out, I started having some gigs. So, like, I don't know how it happened, but in December, the guys just released the Lollopalooza flyer, and my name was there, but my agency didn't tell me that I was going to play. So I just woke up this day when the lineup was released, and my name was there, and my friends were tagging me and asking me, hey man, is this you? And I don't know. So I just called the agency, and they told me, yes, you are in Lollopalooza. It's a surprise. and that was like the happiest moment of my life. And playing there was so such a big experience for me, because I was a guy who I was just starting, you know, I was just learning how to play on the CDJs, but it was so good because I played in the first day, in the first hour. So everybody who was there, like they just got from their cities. Most of the people in Lollopalooza, they in Brazil at least, they are not from São Paulo, which is the city of the festival. Most of people are from other cities. So everybody took a plane to be there, and they were just like there in the first time. And I was playing. Some people didn't know who I was back then, but it was such a memorable night because everybody was like in their first experience, you know, like the first show, and it was my first experience with a big audience too. But yeah, I think that was my.
That's amazing. I had no idea that lineups would just randomly put music artists on there, and you just wake up one day and you're like, wow, I'm playing at this festival. That's so cool.
Yes, that's actually that actually never happens to me again. It was like only this time, because the guy from the agency, he liked me, and he didn't tell me, you know, like he told me like, hey man, maybe we're gonna get you in Lollopalooza, but he didn't say the final okay, you know.
Yeah.
Just like I just found out when I saw the lineup, and I called him, and it was like the best moment in my life. I just wish I could go back and do better, you know. But it was, I'm gonna have other opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. Well, going off that, like, what do you love most about when you're creating and you're producing your music? What do you love most about it when you're upstage and you're performing?
Well, I love to play somewhere where people want to listen to my music, you know. That's what I love the most, because when you are in a big agency, they at least in Brazil, they always try to tell you with other artists. For example, a guy called for the agency, and they want like vintage culture, for example. And they say, okay, yeah, you sell vintage culture and you have to take RICCI. When I had shows like that, it wasn't really cool because most of the people didn't knew who he was, you know. Even if I played for like 5,000 people, it wouldn't be a good show, you know. I'd rather play for 700 people that are in the venue to see me than playing for like 7,000 people in a place that nobody knows who I am, you know.
Yeah.
But I think if I could, I think you asked me what is. Can you make the question again?
Yeah. What do you love most about sharing your music with others and performing?
Yeah. What I love the most is seeing the excitement in the eyes of the people and how the people move, and seeing that they are excited about me being there and playing my music.
Yeah.
That's
feeling the passion from your fans and seeing that their love for what you produce.
Yeah.
That's probably something very special that music artists and people like yourself get to experience. That's amazing. I wanted to chat a little bit about the remix now, and I wanted you to take us through your creative process. So when you were creating the remix for Time, what were you thinking? What was your creative process?
Well, actually, when I started to make the remix, I didn't even have the stamps back then. So I think what inspired me the most was the memory of playing the game, the F1 challenge in 2002, 2003 with my father. And I just wanted to show that feeling again, you know. I think that what inspired me the most. But I also was inspired by some sounds that I used to have like some bass sounds and some trap sounds. And I used some chopped vocals on top too. But I think that the feeling of playing that exact same game like 17 years ago, that was what made me do the remix.
And how are you hoping the players will feel when they're racing to this remix?
What? Can you repeat?
Like, how do you hope the players are going to feel when they're racing to this remix? Do you want, like, when they hear the song, do you want them to race faster and harder, or what do you want the players to get out of it?
Well, I think I want them to feel the excitement of being in a race, in a real race, not just a game. I want them to feel excitement of being a real racer. That's actually the name of it.
Yeah.
So I think I was just remembering how when I was a kid and I was playing that, and I actually believed that was true. I wasn't really thinking that was a game.
Yeah, it's really great to hear that your past video game experience inspired you and helped you create the remix for this song as well. So yeah, it's good that you come from a video game background and pull that into your music and known sort of like what the players need when they're racing, what kind of beats and sounds are going to inspire them to go faster and feel like they're really there in the race. So that's great to hear. I wanted to ask as well, in Brazil where you are you currently being able to play any live music at all, or have you been locked down at home?
Not really. Actually, we are still really on quarantine here, so we have no live events, not at all. No DJs are playing. Only I think there were 2 or 3 in-drive concerts, but I wasn't in any of them, and it's still not the same thing as playing to a live audience. But I'm really hoping that we can go back to live shows soon.
Yeah, well, what have you been doing in lockdown? Have you been using the time to create more music, or have you sort of been chilling, sitting back, playing a bit of video games to pass the time?
Actually, I was living in a farm for a long time, so I'm moving out exactly now. I'm moving out today. I just rented a new house in the city because my daughter's school is coming back next Monday. So from now on, I'm gonna be working more, but I was basically chilling and spending time with my daughter and going to the river and the farm. And I wasn't really focused on working, but now I'm gonna be.
No, sometimes you need that break though, because I can imagine performing live and producing music. It's when you're on tour and stuff, it's quite full on. So it's a nice opportunity to just relax at the farm, spend time with family.
Yes. I'm sorry, my family was chatting really loud in the living room. I just asked them to be quiet, please. Sorry.
No, all good. Well, I wanted to ask another final question. So, as you know, Real Racing is all about cars. So, I wanted to know what your first car was, and if you could have any car in the world, what car would you own?
Well, my first car was the one I have now. Is a Honda Fit. I don't know if they have it in Australia. Honda.
Yep.
I think you have it. It's not
Yes.
really racing car, but if I could have any car in the world, I would have a Dodge Challenger.
Yes.
All black.
All black. Very cool. I love it. Well, I wanted to.
Not really the most
thank you.
car, but I really love it.
Yeah.
The Dodge Challenger is not really the most expensive car, but I love the design and I hope I can have one someday.
One day that can be when you're top of the headline charts and and you can drive in on your Dodge Charger onto the stage. Well, that's great. Well, Richie, I wanted to say thank you very much for joining me on the show today. It's been great chatting with you and learning about yourself and your music background and your history. You've really, given us an opportunity to learn about yourself and your journey through music. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Alana. It was a great pleasure to be here with you.
Lovely. Well, you can listen to Richie's song in our game, and you can also listen to the song on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your music. Don't forget to also collect Richie's very special exclusive car livery, which is available only in this update, and that can be won by completing stage 1 of the Race Day Monaco event. Thanks again, Richie, and happy racing everyone, and happy listening.